We are now going to look at mind maps as a planning tool. So definitely not something unique to IT. I'm sure you've come across them. You may even use them to revise. So a mind map is a visual way of showing how ideas, or in our case, tasks, can link together. So very visual. This one is quite a nice, pretty one on time management, which may be pertinent if you are revising. So we're linking ideas together. We have a central idea, but this one's quite a nice, neat one. I've definitely been in lots of meetings where someone has, the manager has brought out a flip chart or a whiteboard and has started mind mapping on the board or chart to show some ideas. It's quite good in a informal, or it can be formal, but group discussion where you're trying to come up with some ideas and linking them together. So we have a central idea in the middle and we branch out from this idea with different ideas coming out, and we can link them together, so it can become a little bit messy sometimes if you are linking different ideas. Here we're only coming out from the middle, so if it becomes really messy it can become like a spider's web, which is why they're also called spider diagrams sometimes. In terms of our use, so let's stick to my train example. So it can be used to help with design, and mind map is not telling you the design, it's not showing you the design, but it can be useful to think of some ideas if you're wanting to design, say, a train. So if you're in maybe an initial meeting during planning to think of what features you want in your brand new trains, you might think, okay, I want it to be purple. You can see the train here is kind of purple. That's your idea coming out from the middle. Let's say we're going to apply this purple to all the signage, and all of the seats are going to have a purple pattern, maybe. Another idea could be you've got to make sure it's all accessible, so you might need to have some braille in all of your signs so blind people can read what the sign is saying. You might also think about the size of your train, so maybe you want 300 standing positions in the train, maybe also space for 5 wheelchairs, so that's branching out from size. But this point here about wheelchairs could also link to accessibility, making sure everyone is able to make use of a train. And so you start having links between your sub ideas, and it's quite useful to connect all of your ideas so you can see it on a page and understand how things can link together. This can lead into dependency when we're talking about tasks. So this was just about design, but if we're trying to use a mind map to plan our tasks, so things like the order, let's say we're building a station. I've just done an example here. So components of a station might be your ticket hall, your escalators between the ticket hall and the platform. So we're mapping out our key tasks to do here. In purple are our key tasks. We can then divide them further, so actually making the ticket machines, making the barriers, adding CCTV to the platforms, etc. We're breaking them down and we can see perhaps dependency, right? So the ticket machines require a ticket hall to exist in. We can see the link between a ticket machine being a sub-idea of the ticket hall, or a sub-task of the ticket hall. So we can see that via the link, and maybe you'd add in an arrow to show this more clearly. If you are using it to plan tasks, even in quite a informal, vague way, you might still add in some timings next to each one. So maybe this is done first, doing the escalators, maybe you're then doing the platform, and you might add in how long it will take. So it might take 2 weeks to make the ticket hall, for example. So you might add in some timings, but by default, a mind map wouldn't have this written in. Okay, let's evaluate a mind map then. So what's good about it is it's very easy to add new ideas or tasks to your mind map, because as soon as you think of an idea, all you need to do is just do a line coming out, add a new idea and connect it. It's very easy. Other planning tools, if you come up with a new idea after you've finished it, it can be very hard to go back and modify it. But it's very easy with a mind map. It's also easy in terms of actually making them, because you don't need to be a genius or a specialist to make a mind map. It's a fairly simple task. I'm sure you've done it before. It's also good to show any independent tasks, because if you have no links, say, to the escalators, like no links between this and another task, we can see that it's an independent task. We don't need to do anything before we make the escalators. So that's quite good. Also good at showing just links between tasks, so showing dependency as well. But what's not so good about it is usually they don't have any timings attached. I added some to my task 1, but usually they don't, and it's not designed really for timings. It also can get quite messy the bigger you make it, and it becomes hard to read. So it might make sense to you because you made it, but your mess of ideas might be hard for someone else to understand. It's also very difficult to show any concurrent task. So here, it's not obvious what tasks can be done in parallel. If you didn't have timings in particular, how do you know which one? How do you know the order? How do you know that a ticket hall can't be done at the same time as making the platform? You don't. So it's not really designed for showing concurrency, and so another planning tool might be required for your formal, sophisticated plan. Because a mind map, if you are presenting your mind map to your manager, they might think it's not a particularly formal way of planning.